The crack of the slap echoed through the living room like a thunderclap, leaving a red welt on my cheek that burned hotter than any fire. "Give me my damn money." "Old man, my son," Derek hissed through clenched teeth, his eyes wild with greed. "That's $100,000 you're pissing away on that shell of a woman." He was talking about his mother, my wife of 35 years, Clara, who sat in the corner armchair, staring blankly at the wall as dementia slowly erased the vibrant teacher she'd once been. Derek stormed out that afternoon in 2013, slamming the door so hard the pictures rattled on the walls. We didn't hear from him for a decade. Then Clara passed away, and at her funeral, there he was, tailored suit, slick lawyer in tow, demanding a share of the estate right there among the weeping mourners. He thought he could bully the frail widower he'd left behind. But oh, how those 10 years had transformed me. While he chased his sales commissions and fancy cars, I'd turned our garage into a fortress of innovation, building a company worth millions from the ashes of our family's pain. The revelation I was about to drop on him would shatter his world. That day in March 2013 replayed in my mind like a bad movie as I stood over Clara's casket, the scent of lilies heavy in the air. I'd quit my $130,000 engineering job at a defense contractor in Seattle to care for her full-time. Colleagues whispered I was cracking under the pressure. Poor Elias Hawthorne, they said, throwing away a solid career for a lost cause. The neighbors in our quiet suburbs saw the decline too, me pushing a cart at the discount store, buying off-brand everything, my old Ford pickup rusting in the driveway with a duct-taped bumper. They pitied me, dropping off potlucks and murmuring about how Clara sometimes called me by her father's name. But Derek's words that day cut deepest. "She's a vegetable, Dad. Stick her in a home and move on. Stop draining my future." He didn't get it. Clara wasn't gone, not yet. Some mornings, she'd wake up sharp as ever, sipping tea and reminiscing about our honeymoon in the Rockies, asking about Derek with that hopeful lilt in her voice. I'd fib, say he was swamped at work, but sent his regards. Those fleeting moments of clarity were my lifelines. Her hand in mine, a reminder of vows that meant more than money. The bills piled up like snowdrifts. Clara's meds ran $500 a month, even with insurance kicking in half. We rented a hospital bed for $200 more, and physical therapy sessions added another $250 weekly. I dipped into our savings, sold my tools from the old job, even pawned my watch for $400. Pride? It didn't pay the electric bill. Neighbors like Mrs. Larson next door would slip me envelopes with cash, their eyes full of sympathy. "We know it's tough, Elias," they'd say. The isolation gnawed at me worst of all. Clara's good days grew rare, snatches of lucidity amid weeks of fog. But in those precious minutes, she'd grip my sleeve and whisper, "Don't let them take me away, Elias. I want to stay here, with you, where I know the sunlight patterns on the floor." I'd promise her the world, kiss her forehead, and mean every word. Her mother had withered in a nursing home years back, forgotten amid the beeps and sterile smells. And Clara had sworn she'd never end up there. Derek's demand wasn't just cash, it was a death sentence for Clara's dignity. I toured the facilities. Evergreen care looked polished on the surface, with manicured lawns and smiling aides. But I caught the undertones, the faint odor of neglect beneath the bleach. Residents lined up like forgotten luggage, staring at infomercials. "We'll provide top-notch memory care," the director had assured me. But I knew it meant sedation and solitude. The cheaper places were nightmares, overworked staff, call lights ignored, souls fading in shared rooms. Clara had confided in me during our engagement about her grandma's pleas to come home. How the guilt still haunted her. Now, faced with the same horror, I couldn't break my word. The morning after Derek's outburst, Clara had a clear spell. She found me at the kitchen table, buried in statements from the bank. "You look like the weight of the world's on you," she said, her voice steady for the first time in days. I tried to brush it off, but she knew me too well. "Derek wants the money, doesn't he? To ship me off." Tears welled as I nodded. "He thinks it's easier." Her jaw set firm. "Easier for him to forget. But we won't let that happen. Elias. Promise me." I squeezed her hand, feeling the loose fit of her ring from the weight she'd lost. "You'll stay right here, in our home, with the garden you planted and the bird feeders you love." It wasn't empty talk. Derek's greed threatened everything, our vows, her peace, the life we'd built. While he saw dollars vanishing into care costs, I saw a woman fighting to hold onto her humanity. The call started 2 weeks later. Derek's voice. "All fake calm, Dad. Let's compromise. Put Mom in Evergreen. I'll cover half the fees. You keep the house. I get my cut when it's over." I was bathing Clara then, her frail form trusting in my arms. "No deal," I said flatly. Silence. Then the mask slipped. "You're delusional. She's not even there anymore." He was half right. Clara had called him Tommy last visit, some boy from her school days. But her fear of Holmes lingered, a constant in the chaos. Weekly harassments followed, texts about roof repairs we couldn't afford, $5,000 estimate. Voicemails left for Clara that I deleted before she heard. "Mom, Dad's ruining us all with his stubbornness." I recorded everything, building a shield against his manipulations. By winter, threats escalated. Spoke to a lawyer. Elder neglect includes financial mismanagement. Draining assets on subpar home care? That's abuse. Christmas Eve. He called as we unwrapped modest gifts, a scarf for her, a book on birds for me. "Merry Christmas, Dad. Enjoy your freedom while it lasts. Come New Year's, I'm filing for guardianship." His words hung like icicles, a pattern of denial, endangering Clara for pride. But what he didn't see was the fire kindling inside me. Nights after Clara slept, I'd slip to the garage, notebook in hand, charting her patterns, the agitation before meals, the wandering at dusk. Neighbors gossiped about my late-night lights, thinking grief had unhinged me. But I was reinventing myself, turning pain into progress. January 2014 brought the scare that changed everything. Clara vanished for hours. I scoured the house, the yard, even called neighbors in panic. Found her huddled in the attic, tears streaming, too disoriented to find her way down. That night, I sketched my first invention, a discreet wearable tracker for dementia patients, monitoring location, heart rate, and falls, alerting caregivers via app. Not some bulky anklet, but elegant, like jewelry she'd wear proudly. I called it the Guardian Band. Research consumed me. Patents cost a fortune. So I sold my motorcycle for the fees. The garage transformed, workbench from scrap wood, parts scavenged from online auctions, coding tutorials watched in the wee hours. Dr. Elena Vasquez, Clara's neurologist, noticed my exhaustion during checkups. "Elias, this level of care isn't sustainable. You're heading for collapse." I showed her my notes, the prototype. Her eyes widened. "This integration of biometrics and GPS, it's innovative. Where'd this come from?" "Years in engineering. Months of necessity," I replied. She connected me to her network, specialists, researchers hungry for real-world solutions. Word spread quietly. A geriatrician tested my early prototype on patients, suggesting tweaks. A tech buddy from my old job helped refine the software. By 2015, I filed the patent and formed Hawthorne Care Tech LLC from our dining table. First sales were modest, local families desperate for alternatives to homes. One device at $300. Installation consulting for $500. Money trickled in. Enough to cover Clara's escalating needs. Home aids at $30 per hour. Safety mods like stair gates and soft flooring. Neighbors still saw the facade. The rumpled clothes. The overgrown lawn, but inside, I was building. Derek's calls tapered off, replaced by silence. Good riddance, I thought. Though Clara asked about him in lucid moments, her voice tinged with sadness. He's building his life, I'd say, shielding her from the truth. Years blurred into a rhythm of care and creation. Clara's decline deepened. Days she didn't recognize our home. Nights she paced, whispering to ghosts. But my inventions multiplied. The Guardian band evolved into a suite, smart dispensers reminding meds with her favorite jazz tunes, motion lights guiding safe paths. Even an AI voice assistant mimicking my tone to calm her during episodes. Patents stacked up, 5 by 2018. Licensing deals followed. A big medical firm paid $200,000 upfront for rights. Royalties kicking in quarterly. I hired Margaret Klein, a retired nurse, as my first employee. She handled consultations while I prototyped. Revenue hit $500,000 that year. Enough to pay off the mortgage. Upgrade the house subtly, no flashy changes, just reliable heat. A new roof. The community whispered. Elias seems steadier now. Maybe he's coping better. Clara had more bad days than good by then. But her trust in me never wavered. One rare, clear evening in 2019, she found me in the garage.
Tinkering.
What's all this? She asked, eyes sparkling like old times. I explained the band, how it helped others like her. Tears fell as she hugged me. You turned my nightmare into hope for strangers. I'm so proud, Elias. Those words fueled me through the exhaustion. Derek? Radio silence. Last I'd heard via mutual friends. He was climbing the ladder in pharma sales, driving a Lexus, dating around. Fine by me. He'd chosen his path. The empire grew stealthily. By 2020, Hawthorne Care Tech employed 10 engineers, nurses, a marketer. We moved to a small office in downtown Seattle. But I kept the garage as my think tank. Annual revenue crossed $2 million, devices in homes nationwide. Consulting gigs for hospitals revamping elder care. I testified before a state committee on dementia policies. My story anonymized but impactful. Clara's will? We updated it in 2021 during a lucid phase. With Dr. Vasquez certifying competency. She was adamant. Everything to me. A token $1 to Derek. With a letter explaining her heartbreak over his abandonment. He chose greed over us, she dictated. Voice steady. You built from love. He gets what he earned, nothing. The pandemic hit, amplifying demand. Families shunned facilities fearing outbreaks. Our home-based tech boomed. Royalties surged to $1.5 million yearly. I donated anonymously to local caregivers. Funded research grants. Neighbors noticed the shift. My truck replaced. Yard manicured by pros, but attributed it to some consulting side gig. Fine. I wasn't in it for show. Clara's final years were peaceful. Our home a sanctuary of familiar scents. Her garden blooming. Birds at the feeder. She passed in her sleep in 2023. Hand in mine. Whispering my name one last time. The funeral was intimate, friends, colleagues who'd become family.
Dr.
Vasquez sharing how Clara inspired breakthroughs. Then Derek appeared. Uninvited. Lawyer Rebecca Torres at his side.
Dad.
We need to talk estate, he said post-service, cornering me amid condolences. Mourners paused, sensing tension. Half is mine, house. Savings, insurance. His eyes gleamed, calculating. I nodded calmly. Let's discuss numbers tomorrow. He smirked, thinking victory. Little did he know, the numbers would floor him. The next morning, Derek and Rebecca arrived at the house. Him in Armani, her with a briefcase bulging. They expected a quick carve-up. I poured coffee, letting silence build. Let's get to it, Derek said, impatient. Mom's life insurance alone is $300,000. House equity another $500,000. Split it fair. Rebecca nodded, pulling forms. I slid over a folder, financials, valuations. Actually, the estate's more substantial. Derek's brow furrowed as he scanned. Hawthorne Care Tech LLC. Patents listed. Revenue streams. What the hell is this? I leaned back. While you were gone, I didn't just care for your mother. I built solutions from her struggles. That vegetable-inspired tech helping thousands. Rebecca's eyes widened at the figures. Company valuation $5 million. Personal assets $2 million more. Derek paled. This is mine too? Half of $7 million. I shook my head slowly. Read Clara's will. The document hit like a bomb. Updated 2021. Competency certified. To me, all assets. Business. Properties. To Derek, $1 and a sealed letter. He tore it open, face draining as he read aloud. Derek, you slapped your father and walked away, demanding money while I fought to remember my own name. Elias sacrificed everything to keep me home, turning pain into purpose. You chose absence. Now inherit what you gave, nothing. Rebecca stammered about contests. But I cut in. Washington law supports disinheritance for abandonment. 10 years no contact. Textbook. Derek slumped, the suit suddenly ill-fitting. But I didn't know. You didn't care, I replied softly. Mourners from yesterday, now revealed as my team, nodded knowingly. Derek left defeated. The empire he dismissed now a monument to his mistake. Word spread fast. A local paper picked up the story. Seattle caregiver turns tragedy into tech triumph. Interviews followed. But I focused on the business. Calls flooded in, families seeking our gear. Partners proposing expansions. Derek's absence had been a blessing, his return. A reckoning. 3 days later, Rebecca requested a formal reading at my attorney's office. Derek brought reinforcements, a second lawyer, hoping for loopholes. Attorney Marcus Hale laid it out. Multiple will updates, all certified lucid. Contesting means proving incompetence against 3 experts. Cost? $250,000 minimum. Years in court. Likely loss. Derek's team deflated. Hale read the will aloud. Assets tallying $7 million. Clara's letter sealed it. You saw my illness as a drain. Elias saw opportunity to help. He earned this. You forfeited yours. Derek stared. Broken. Options, his lawyer whispered.
Slim.
And you'd owe fees if you lose. I offered a card. Or start fresh. Entry level at my firm. $50,000. Learn what you missed. He took it, mumbling thanks, and left. The article exploded. TV spots. National mentions. Business boomed. Waiting list tripled. New hires needed.
Dr.
Vasquez joked. Your quiet strength went viral. Derek called a week later.
Dad. About the job.
His voice trembled. Apologies first. I'm sorry for the slap. The demands. Abandoning you both. Pain laced his words. I was blind to what mattered. Sorry and changed are different, I said. Probation. 6 months. Grunt work. Prove yourself. He agreed. Starting Monday, Derek showed up at 8 a.m. sharp. Tie askew. Notepad ready. I assigned him intake, fielding calls from frantic families. His first, a wife tearful over her husband's Alzheimer's. He fumbled, but listened, scheduling a consult. That was tough, he admitted later. Her voice. Like Mom's. Empathy's the job, I replied. Weeks turned to months. He learned patents, shadowed installs, saw the impact. One evening, closing up, Dad, this Mrs. Klein, her story mirrors yours. I told her home care's not giving up. It's giving all. Pride flickered. He was grasping value over price. The Clara Hawthorne Foundation launched on her would-be's 70th birthday. $3 million endowed from royalties. Focus. Funding elder innovations. Caregiver support.
Dr. Vasquez on board.
Margaret handling ops. Derek grants. His sales savvy shown in pitches. Securing donors. Weed aided 25 projects. Equipped 50 families. Trained hundreds. Clara's legacy lived, helping others dodge our hardships. I stayed in her home, her quilt on the bed. Photos everywhere. No longer the pitted widower, but the innovator who'd risen. When asked about rehiring Derek, I'd say redemption needs a door. He asked once, why give me this chance? Your mother believed in better from you. So do I. Boundaries held, no shortcuts. Earn every step. Derek rose to manager. But through merit. The story wasn't revenge, it was consequence. The power of promises kept in shadows. Strength? It's serving when it costs everything. Emerging unbreakable. 6 months in. Derek handled a crisis call solo, a son overwhelmed by his father's dementia. Tempted by facilities. Don't rush, Derek advised. My dad kept my mom home. Built this company from it. It's hard, but worth it. The caller signed on. Derek beamed. Learning the ropes? I asked. More than that, seeing what I missed. Foundation milestones mounted. A grant for AI companions. Scholarships for caregivers. Derek led a fundraiser, raising $500,000. His pitch raw with regret turned resolve. I walked away once, he shared. Don't make my mistake. Family's the real inheritance. Our relationship mended slowly. Scars lingering. Dinners became regular. Stories of Clara shared without bitterness. He met someone, started a family, naming his daughter after her. To honor what I almost lost. Business thrived, $10 million revenue. Expansions to Europe. I consulted globally, but home remained anchor. Neighbors marveled. Elias, you were Phoenix all along. Derek's transformation proved it. Change possible when faced with truth. The tale leaves echoes. What if Derek hadn't returned? Would bitterness consume? Or does forgiveness fuel growth? In the end, love's quiet empire outlasts greed's flash. A reminder, true wealth's in who we hold through storms, not what we grasp.